Hey, welcome to this Tuesday with Michelle. I am your girl, Michelle, bringing you the hottest content this Tuesday. What's going on, everybody? What's good? What's popping? What's new? What is fresh? Anyway, I hope you guys are doing well. I am good. Super excited to be kicking off our 5 part little this Tuesday episodes that is starting today. We are going to be talking about, drum roll, please. Dum, 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 dum. The 5 love languages. Yay. So I was like, you know what, girl, what can you do for the people? And I was like, how about you go, you do the research, find some ideas, and bring the ideas to the podcast. So what I'm going to do is for each of the next 5 this Tuesday episodes, I'm going to be dropping ideas for each love language so that if your person is a physical touch person, you have some ideas of how you can show them love. Or if they're a words of affirmation person, you have some ideas of how to show them love. Let's start off with what the 5 love languages are. So there's an actual book for people who don't know, which was written by Dr. Gary Chapman, which is called The 5 Love Languages. And in there, he actually breaks down what those 5 love languages are. And I think, if I remember correctly, I read the book some years back, but I believe he was like a counselor. I don't know if he's still like a practicing counselor, but like what he realized from his years of counseling was that when couples would come in, there was a disconnect, right? And it was because both parties felt like they weren't being loved, and yet they felt like they were expressing love to their partner. So how does that make sense, you might ask? Like, if someone feels like they're giving love, how can the other person feel like they're not being loved? And that's how he unraveled these 5 love languages. And I think also it's important to kind of call out from the start that something that stuck with me was what he said, where imagine someone speaks English and someone speaks Spanish, right? And this person only speaks Spanish and this person only speaks English. So the English person can, or English speaking person can express love in all these words to this person, and they're expressing it in English, but the person who only speaks Spanish does not understand what this person is saying, and vice versa. So the Spanish speaking person can express love in so many words to this person who only speaks English, and they don't get it. So that's where the disconnect comes. And so in relationships, what happens is people have their primary love languages. So I said there are 5 love languages. And I think really when you talk about your primary love language, it's either going to be 1 or 2. And the reason why I'm saying 2 is because, for example, when I took it, I think that I had a tie when I took the quiz. So I had a tie for 2 of the love languages. So that's what I'm saying, for the most part, you could have just 1 that's way above the other 4, right? And that's your primary love language. Now, something I also want to call out, which actually he mentioned in the book, was how men, for some reason, based on the book, I'm not making this up, he said that for some reason, men just automatically thought that their love language was physical touch, and that's actually not true. So what these love languages are is basically how you feel loved. So imagine when you're not feeling loved or you're feeling down and someone does something for you, what is that thing, right? Of those 5 love languages, what is that thing where if someone does something for you, you literally feel like, oh my God, I'm the most loved person. So that's what a love language is. So for those people who, it's so funny because like I'll ask some friends, right? I'll be like, oh, what's your love language or whatever? And people just like think of them, on the spot. There's actually a quiz, guys. So I'm going to drop the quiz in the description box. And you can always click the quiz and you can take it and then you can figure out what your love language is, okay? Something else that I also want to say is just because somebody's love language, okay, let's say for example, if my love language number 5, which is like the one at the bottom of my list, if that is gifts, please let the record reflect that just because gifts was the last one on my list, it does not mean that you should not give me gifts, okay? So we don't want people who are stingy in relationships, please, okay? And the list of love languages is really just to kind of give you guidance as to how someone feels most loved when they're feeling down. As we prepare to transition into the ideas, I'm actually going to bless you with a little bit of a karaoke performance. Don't be afraid to touch. You know that I'm a good girl. Anyway, you guys know that I suck at lyrics, first of all. So those are probably the wrong lyrics. Anyway, that's a song by Amory. And that's the one that should give you the hint that today we're going to be giving ideas for physical touch. Physical touch, baby. The book mentioned that there are 2 types of physical touches. There's one that's implicit and then there's one that's explicit. So the implicit ones would be kind of they're kind of like, what can I say? They're more on the discreet side. So, for example, if my love language is physical touch, when we're going to watch TV together, let's say I'm with my boo thing and we're watching TV, an implicit touch would be my boyfriend and I sitting right next to each other. He doesn't have to be like cuddling me, but because we have that, arm to arm connection, that's an implicit touch. And, I feel connected to my person. I feel loved that way. So that's more on the implicit side. And then there are more explicit type of gestures where it could be like, a person, like my partner, giving me a massage. That's a very explicit gesture where we can see that, okay, this is clearly physical touch. So anyway, here are some ideas to help you guys out, okay? Number one, dance lessons. And I think I'm actually going to add here that there are certain types of dances that bring people a lot closer. So like Latin dancing, for example, the salsas, the bachatas, and all of that stuff, you're literally like face to face with someone, so if your partner's primary love language is physical touch, consider going for dance lessons or consider going dancing with them, because you're going to have all that good physical touch going on. The next one on the list is, as I mentioned, massages. But I think what I'll add to it is, when it comes to massages, you don't have to be, as the partner, you don't have to be the person to give your partner the massage. You can also just give them a gift to go and get a massage. Or you could do a couples massage where, both of you are getting massages at the same time. So that's an example there. Weighted blankets are apparently a thing, in the sense that, like, for physical touch. I know that weighted blankets are a thing, but in the sense that, like, feeding the need for people who have physical touch needs, apparently weighted blankets feel like they're getting a big hug. So you could do that. You could do an at-home spa. So, let me paint a little picture for you. What you're going to do is you're going to buy like bath bombs, right? And then you're going to buy, like like bubbles, and you're going to run a bath for your partner. So all you have to do is just put the bath bomb in there, put the bubbles, you can, turn on the candles or whatever, dim the lights, spread the roses, prepare chocolate covered strawberries, have a wine bottle, all of that stuff. But I think the physical touch part of it is just in this case, it is the water that is filled with all this goodness that is touching your partner. So that's an example of something you could do for a physical touch person. The next one is just, guys, basic stuff. Okay, I'm talking about the holding of the hands when you're walking outside or inside. I think even just like little gestures. So it could be, you're at a party with friends, you just going and slightly putting your hand on your partner's back when you're saying something, like that's a form of like physical touch, and this person will feel loved. Another thing is, you guys might have even seen this, Beyonce and Jay-Z. I've seen a shot of them at some basketball game, I believe. And Jay-Z had his hand on like Beyonce's thigh or like Beyonce's knee. So things like those, you want to create those moments of you touching your person so that your person feels loved. And also, actually, something that the book said was that not all touches that you make to your partner have to be sexual. So it does not have to lead to the bed, okay? It does not have to lead to the bed. This person just wants to be hugged. They just want to feel loved. That's really what it is. And then you could do your hugs, you could do your kisses. And yeah, I think this one is definitely, I'll say, of the love languages, the ideas that I have for this one that I was able to find was more of a shorter list compared to other love languages. And that's because, you're going to have to be creative on your own. Okay. So this is just a little sample of what you could do out there to spice up your love and to make your person feel like they're loved. So you know what? I'm going to sign out right now. And you guys can catch me in next Tuesday's episode, where we're going to be talking about love language number 2. Oh, and also, guys, the order here is just a random order. It doesn't mean that these are my love languages. So don't be out here guessing and trying to assign love languages that are not mine. I'm just randomly going to be presenting these to you. Anyway, take care. Enjoy your day and look forward to this Friday's episode. Peace. Ndiwe.